Heya, cryptozens. Tonight's stories. Russia to be locked out of SWIFT. Ukraine wants to surveil Russian wallets. Ukraine crypto donations exceed $13 million. The date is February 27th, 2022, and welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. I'm your host, Nick. The cover model for this podcast is Tex, and together we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. We bring you news stories on familiar topics. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. Now, if you're new here and you find that you like this show, subscribe and rate us. If you're on Spotify, you can rate us right from the app. So, give Tex and I 5 stars. It's going to help other people find their way to this podcast. Now, there's a lot to talk about tonight, so let's go. But before we get into tonight's stories, let's take a quick look at the markets. At the time of writing, the global crypto market cap is $1.71 trillion. That's down 1.95% since we got together yesterday. The top 5 cryptos by market cap are Bitcoin down 2.4%, Ethereum down 3.8%, Tether, Binance Coin down 1.95%, and USDC. The global NFT market cap is just above $10 billion. The top 5 NFT collections by 24-hour volume on OpenSea are CryptoPunks up 370%, Bored Apes down 15%, Degen Tunes down collection down 62%, Clone X down 24%, Azuki up 33%. And please keep in mind, some of these collections have very volatile prices, so do your own research. Russia to be locked out of SWIFT. And this is a big one. Financially, there's not really much more they could do to Russia. Even if you sanctioned every good, service, and product that came out of Russia or went into, but you didn't cut them off from SWIFT, it wouldn't be as bad. It would be bad, just wouldn't be as bad. They could still take donations, for example, debts could be paid, and things like that. Now, if they get cut out of SWIFT, that's pretty much it. The White House, the European Commission, Canada, the UK, Germany, Italy, they all worked late into the night Saturday night. And in the end, they announced that they would be expelling certain Russian banks, I'm not sure which ones, from the SWIFT bank system. Their announcement said, "This will ensure that these banks are disconnected from the international financial system and harm their ability to operate globally. The restrictive measures will prevent the Russian central bank from deploying its international reserves in a way that undermine the impact of our sanctions." Ursula von der Leyen is the current president of the European Commission. She went further saying, "We will work to prohibit Russian oligarchs from using their financial assets on our markets." Putin embarked on a path aiming to destroy Ukraine, but what he is also doing, in fact, is destroying the future of his own country. So cutting Russia out means they can't liquidate assets. They can't transfer funds across institutional systems. It's meant to be painful. It's meant to isolate. It's meant to punish. Russia does have other options. They're not good ones. One is SIPs. China would probably work with them. SIPs is China's, it's their solution for cross-border banking. It stands for cross-border interbank payment systems. Now, 23 Russian banks have been hooked up to that system, but there's no real sense of how well they're going to work with China. China didn't vote with Russia during the UN security meeting, so maybe there's some sort of tension there. But what's really interesting about this is it demonstrates the ability of governments to work together to use currency as a weapon and how out of control that ability is. Because while I absolutely support sanctioning Russia, that's a lot of power, and it could be done to us. Just think about it. Ukraine wants to surveil Russian wallets. I think it's pretty understandable. Now, we were just talking about the fact that Russia is likely to get cut off from the traditional financial networks, SWIFT, and it's going to be painful, and they're going to try to sidestep the pain. Now, Ukraine wants to make sure their opponents, and in this case, I mean, the Russian politicians, the oligarchs, the businessmen, they know that they're going to try to avoid sanctions. because they knew ahead of time sanctions would be coming. They've known for years. The United States hit Russia with sanctions over the Crimean invasion. So it's not a big surprise that the United States would turn to sanctions again. So now the politicians and the businessmen know what's coming, which means it's interesting because crypto is even more of a thing now. In 2014, crypto was a thing, but not like today. So that is why on Saturday, Ukraine's Minister of Digital Transformation, Mikhail Fedorov, I really like this guy, by the way, he made it clear he wants details on crypto wallets being held by Russian and Belarusian officials. In a tweet, he said, "War crimes must be pursued and punished." Why would they want this? Well, if you've been listening to this show for a while, and if you've been listening to Crypto in 5 Minute series, you know it's the same reason crypto is actually really bad to use as a criminal. It's a distributed ledger, and the distributed part is what causes them issues. Artem Afian is a Ukrainian lawyer. Fedorov said Afian is gathering wallet addresses. And Afian said their goal was to, quote, stop Russian politicians from using crypto and avoiding sanctions. And that's why. This is going to be an issue if, as we just discussed, Russia gets cut off from SWIFT. And it really shows how tech-savvy Ukraine is, because this is a dire situation. I mean, they're using everything available to hit Putin where they can, where it hurts, in his wallet. They've been staging a multi-layered defense on their financial front. The Ukrainian government owns over 46,000 Bitcoin. My understanding is they have the most Bitcoin of any single government. They've been hodling that much since 2021. That's over $1.7 billion. So that's one layer of their defenses, right? Now, earlier this week, in the run-up to Putin's invasion, Ukraine suffered a series of cyber attacks on their government websites, like the Defense Ministry site and the state-run banks. So that demonstrates their wisdom in diversifying. That is their second layer of defense, that they're not trapped into just one form of currency, one form of network. Now that they've established themselves well in the crypto space, they're trying to get the world to clamp down on Russia, financially speaking. Via Telegram, Afian said that these addresses would be reported to government sanctions offices, cryptocurrency exchanges. We talked about that idea on this show. So it's presumably so that these exchanges could independently choose to enact sanctions or not. Convince enough exchange holders not to allow them to offload their crypto on their exchange. If enough of these exchanges make this decision, that could really hurt Russia. Ukraine crypto donations exceed 13 million. It's amazing how quickly this is working out, In the middle of an invasion, Ukraine lost connection to their financial networks. Call went out. Ukraine and its authorities, its charities, its NGOs asking for donations. Even now, people are still donating. $13 million in crypto and climbing. And of course, this is because the central bank had to limit cash withdrawals and shut down the foreign exchange, things like that. Those are pretty rough conditions, actually. Even if you're lucky enough to get out of the Ukraine, you're still vulnerable to the conditions on the central bank. There's that now famous tweet, this Ukrainian national stuck in Kazakhstan. So physically they're safe, but they don't have any money. This is what they said on Twitter. My Ukrainian credit cards don't work anymore. I'm physically safe in Kazakhstan, but all my savings are gone. Crypto is the only money I still have, and today I can say without exaggeration that Bitcoin, Ethereum, and NFTs are going to save my life while I can't come back home. The crypto community responded. Reports started to come out that Ukrainian organizations were getting donations in the form of crypto. And keep in mind, this was the organizations in Ukraine. This is not the government. At the time, there was no way for the government to accept crypto. Now, this changed because shortly after, Ukraine, through its official Twitter account, they asked for more help in the form of Bitcoin, Ether, and USDT. They tweeted out, "Stand with the people of Ukraine, now accepting cryptocurrency donations, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDT." And then the addresses for those kinds of currencies. Some of the crypto luminaries led the way. Vitalik Buterin, who is clearly against the war, he deleted a warning that he initially put out that those addresses might not be legit, because he was looking out for people. Now, he did say, getting some confirmations from a couple of sources that it's legit. Deleting my warning for now, but continue to be vigilant and always be slow and careful when sending irreversible crypto transactions. Justin Sun, he's the founder of Tron. Now, he weighed in on that thread, and he responded to Vitalik with, I'm glad to announce that I have made my initial donation of 200,000 USDT on Tron to Ukraine. The people of Ukraine are not left alone in their fight against humanitarian crisis. Now, Elliptic took a look at some of these donations. According to them, the total incoming donations are now at almost 14 million. They report the median donation is $95, but one anonymous donor sent $3 million on Bitcoin. Now, I had a look at Michael Silberling's site. That site, I talked about it, I think it was last night. That site, which admittedly has some incomplete data, to be sure, but they have this total at 13.44 million. And just because I'm a data kind of guy and I like numbers, here's a few. $13.44 million incoming from 22,000 contributions from 12,000 donors. So there's still a lot of people becoming multiple donors, but I think it means there's more first-time donors, because earlier the ratio of donations to donors was like 2.5 to 3, and now it's just a little over 2. So I think that means that there's a lot more first-time donors, and that would be as a result of people like you spreading the news of where to donate. And that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Do you have questions or comments about the show? Reach out and let us know. Send us an email at crypto.overnighter@gmail.com. That's crypto.overnighter@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter and Twitter. Links to those platforms will be in the show notes. And please, if you could, like, subscribe, share, and comment, and review the podcast. It would really help us out. It would really help other people find their way here. Oh, and hey, give Crypto in 5 Minutes a listen. We're up to 28 educational videos and counting. 5 minutes to explain one concept in crypto. And until then, may peace reign.